Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Balls, Blazers and Backchat. With me, your regular host, Scance, and your other favourite co-host, Catty. How's it going, Catty? You all right?
Very good, Scance. I'm very good. It's nice to see you all again. It's been obviously a little bit longer than 2 weeks, but nice to be back to have chat about some stuff, some rugby, some rugby club, and delve into the life of Ben Sheath and his career as a S&C coach.
Before we move on to introducing Sheath, I just want to apologise to the fans out there. We are recording this slightly late. It's currently Wednesday evening. I think we've at least postponed. Have we postponed it once or twice? But Marcus was. What were you doing, Marcus?
I can't remember. Just a busy weekend. Always busy, mate. Lots of stuff going on at the moment. So
you've turned into a bit of a Forrest Gump, though. Am I right?
Yeah, I've been doing a bit of running recently, but that's probably. I think I've done enough now. So on to something else.
Good stuff. Anyway, Sheethy, thanks for joining us, mate. How are you?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on the esteemed podcast.
It's all right. You were actually, when me and Marcus first started talking about this, you were actually the first guest that I had in mind. I'm not sure why it's taken us to the 6th episode to get you on, but you're here nonetheless.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Best till luck.
You're not trying to get some secret sessions here on zero sleeves. This isn't like a hijacking of zero sleeves and you know.
Yeah, we talk a lot. We talk gym a lot now. You know, I'm interested in gym now. Sheethy's the man to go to if I've got a few questions. So
yeah, Scance is a new man. Now he's got lockdown's changed him. He's turned into a strong man over there.
Yeah.
Is it true, Sheethy? You didn't know who Scance was till lockdown, did you?
No, I definitely didn't know him from any gym numbers. Didn't send anything like that through. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. He's a reformed character. I like it.
Yeah.
It's, makes my life a lot easier, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think during my rehab, to be fair, I filled out a few of those sheets. I've definitely got one of those sheets that you send out filled out somewhere. Obviously never made its way back to you, but there's definitely one that's
filled out the pipes, mate, and the shirt sleeves. That's what
it's actually
don't worry about the sheets.
It's noticeable, isn't it?
Well, some people have said, mainly you, but yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we're actually talking to you now. It's the first time we've sort of spoken since we've been doing the podcast that we're actually back playing some rugby. So we're 3 sessions in now. I know I'm proper loving being back. I know just sort of from the lads' point of view, it's like, you know, it's almost been back to normal straight away. Just on the pitch, just playing some rugby. And I think I don't know, you boys can maybe comment, but I'm pleasantly surprised at the standard and sort of level of fitness and enthusiasm, getting straight back into it. It's been good. Glad to be back, Marcus.
Yeah, no, massively. It's been obviously a frustrating year, like a very stop-start year, and we've been working hard behind the scenes as a coaching group, and obviously for Sheethy with, you know, what's this, the 3rd or 4th almost pre-season start of training. It's been a lot of planning, a lot of banging our heads to try and get the right, you know, plan the right kind of sessions to get the best out of the boys and avoid those sort of small soft tissue injuries that I'm sure Sheethy will talk about a bit more. But no, it's been, you know, the boys have ripped in hard and there's been no, you know, the energy, the attitude has been on point. And I'm sure Sheethy again will comment on that when, you know, we get him to speak to him about it.
I mean, what's obviously I've been doing the training, but what's your plan being, you know, for the first 2 weeks, 4 weeks? What's your plan for the players? Is it skills? Everything's fairly sort of, I mean, we're doing a bit of running mainly, to be honest. It's skills and running with a little bit of a tackle focus. Is that the plan for the next couple of weeks as well?
Is that me or me? Yeah. Anyone will jump in. Yeah, I think like Marcus said, we've probably been working pretty hard behind the scenes to make sure that we're integrating you back into training safely, but also pretty efficiently, because this is probably the first restart of rugby we've had sort of during all these lockdowns and COVID that we've got a kind of an end goal in mind. And like they've also given a firmer start in terms of games. So yeah, we want to get you back playing and training. And I think the initial emphasis has been get you back with some change of direction, some high speed running from a fitness and games perspective. And then, like you said, the contact element is what we've not had a great deal of. I think we broke up like the week before games would have been allowed back in November, December time. And like, we didn't really do masses and masses of contact during that period. So yeah, we need to build that contact back up, build that tolerance. It's been well over a year now since you played a game. So building that back in gradually, but also being mindful of the fact that sort of two things. One, we've got games, or hopefully we've got games to look forward to in the not too distant future. And also, as with anything, like, you're grown men with pent up frustrations of lots of lockdowns. So once we pull the pin on contact's a go. So we just need to make sure that we're bringing that back in sort of a graduated fashion, and it's nice and safe.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's obviously useful as you guys as coaches to know that and how to do that, because we actually probably as players think we can dive straight back into it. And I know I just tackled someone fairly lightly on Tuesday night, and my brain felt like it sort of like rattled around inside my head for 5 minutes, just knocking onto the floor a bit. So it will take some time to get used to. So it's good to have you guys there with a plan.
What's the chat been like with the boys? Obviously, me and Sheethy, from a coaching perspective, we sort of don't hear and see everything. Is there been have the boys enjoyed it? Are they, what's the chat like?
Yeah, personally for me, I think it has. I think it's been the only thing that's a little bit difficult. I know we sort of get a bit of a time at the start and end to sort of chat amongst everyone, but because we're sort of in our groups, you're sort of working with the same boys, or have been for the last 3 sessions, which actually has been quite good, because I've already built sort of a couple of relationships up with the newer guys, and some of the older guys. It's nice to be working in smaller units, but I've just been impressed with the energy levels, I think, from myself and just from other people. I'm surprised how we've gone back into it after such a long break away from each other in such an extended period. I'm quite impressed with how easy training's felt. It's not felt frustrated. Passes are sort of going to hand, and we seem to all be in the right place at the right time. So yeah, I think we'll just a couple more weeks training and we'll be itching to play. And I think the plan's still to have some games early May, Marcus.
Yes, mate. Yeah, we've got games booked in. Again, they're very much adaptable, because we need to be sure that the lads are ready. So we don't want to sort of say this is the exact date of the first game, because there can be a little bit of wiggle with that. But our intention is to play games, and that's what we're prepping for. So there will be games in May, whether it's at the start or we might just push it back a week or two. We'll just have to see. But yeah, that's the plan.
I think that was the big thing we spoke about, wasn't it? That it's important we sign this year off. It's easy this year could just float away. And if we've got the opportunity for you boys to play some games and it's safe and we can build you into it, it's what you turn up on Tuesdays and Thursdays for. Like, you did a long enough pre-season in June to December or whenever it was without any concept of prospect of playing a game. So
yeah, and September. Wait until September's a long time, isn't it? So.
That was what the big discussion was, though. Like, me and Tom, we spoke and we said, well, let's pose the question to Sheethy: if we train now for 10 weeks and have a few, even if it's 1 or 2 or 3 games, is this going to stand us in a better position for next year? Because our focus is on next year. July pre-season and leading into the September 21-22 season. Is this period of 10 weeks, whatever we train for now, is that going to have us in a better position for next year? And Sheethy thought so, was keen on getting something in now, and as coaches we were, and we felt we could really cash in on the lads being locked down for, was it 3 months, 4 months, to get them out and get them running around, and hopefully we're going to be ahead of the curve of other teams if they haven't done as much.
I think sorry mate, go on.
No, you go.
I was going to say on that, I think there's a couple of elements to why it'd be so beneficial as well. There's obviously the gameplay from Marcus and Tom and the coach's perspective, like getting you guys back in shape and structure and playing that. But from my side, there's a bit of a psychological element to, like, if you're not training for anything intense, difficult, focus is difficult. And like all these drills and everything we do at training, it's only as good as the effort the boys put in. And like you said, I think it's been amazing to see how they've come back in the last 3 sessions. And I really think like the more we've got something to actually train for and build towards, the more you boys put in and get after it, the more focused and more intent there is in the sessions, the more also physically we get out of it at the back end as well. So if we can really capitalize on this next 10 weeks, like Marcus says, hopefully we can hit the ground running in pre-season and use it to our advantage at the end of August, September when the season starts.
When's the next pre-season starting, Sheafy?
Yeah, pre-season number 243 starts at some point in July. So yeah, We'll see. We'll see how calm we're going to be, how much time we're going to give you off. You boys have had over a year off, mate. You'll be fine.
we won't want much of a holiday, and there aren't going to be many holidays either. So
you might not, but I've planned 6 pre-seasons. I want a bit of a holiday.
Oh right. No, I'd happily sacrifice a weekend in Marbella for a bit of rugby pre-season now, probably. So
yeah, no, fair enough.
That'd be right. Anything else club-wise you want to shout about, Marcus or Sheafy as well?
I think no. The only dates for the diary, I think we're going to be holding another mixed touch competition on the 24th of April. So that the information on that will be going out in the next couple of days. So that'd be good to again get another good.
Is that full? Is that full club? Is that anyone? Any level?
So
club,
yeah, all the senior side. So 1st to 5th men's, all the women's team, and also the touch, and any sort of club member, obviously over the age of 18, can sign up. And again, like we had a good turnout in late October last year, and hopefully it'll be the same again. Weather will be a bit better this time, and it'll just be good again to see everyone. And it's been really nice to look around at training on a Tuesday and a Thursday night and see all the pitches full up with players. And yeah, it's just great to see everyone back up there again. I think we talk about, Sheafy talked about, in terms of getting the boys back in gameplay and getting their sort of rugby brains back in, and Sheafy looking at your fitness and sort of body conditioning, but also just I think for the boys, they've been used to every Tuesday and Thursday for almost the whole year, or 10 months of the year, going up there, seeing the lads, socialising, obviously rugby as well, but it's just great to be back around the lads. And so for year, I mean, I've been doing it since I was 16, 17, so it's been a big miss, that. And I think it's just good to get back, and from a mental side of things as well, just to have something to look forward to each day.
Yeah, we need each other, don't we? You miss me, don't you?
Massively.
You miss me, don't you? That's why the podcasts have been good, isn't it, mate?
What, a fortnightly check-in?
Compulsory time to talk. So anyway, okay, cheers for all of that, and we'll get tucked into you, Sheafy. I mean, maybe there's a few people out there or who will be listening or / watching that don't immediately recognise you, but you're obviously the strength and conditioning coach for the first team squad, and you've been how many years have you been with us now?
I think this is technically the end of season 3.
Okay.
Yeah, the season that never was, but I think this is season 3. Yeah,
it feels about that long, not that long. I don't know. Yeah, but I suppose with this funny year we've had, it feels like, I don't know. I feel like I've been working with me as someone that's been working with you quite a while. But you've definitely, obviously, had a massive impact on the club. I know, obviously, the strength and conditioning side of things has, and Marcus can probably talk about this as well, has obviously developed over the years. But I mean, certainly, as I've been playing, I know obviously Gilly had a big started, sort of the foundation with a lot of the strength and conditioning squad, and that's carried on, and this is obviously now in your hands. But I certainly feel that we're at probably the highest level in terms of a strength and conditioning program and the amount of work that gets in. You'd agree on that, would you, Marcus? And that's been a focus for the club as it's developed.
Definitely. I think that was part of the reason why we brought Sheafy in after Gilly stepped away, because we saw the advantages. And I think, like you said, Jack, you look back 5-6 years ago when we didn't really have that. I think you got away with that at National 2 level a little bit, but at National 1, the boys, and we have to be fitter than the teams we have to play against, because we don't have the financial clout. We don't have the ability to draw in these sort of ex-Premiership players or whatever as much as other clubs do. So we have to rely on a lot on the stuff we can control, and that is, other than Dan Leo, of course, but we have to rely on our skill and speed and
fitness
areas we can control, which is what he's there to help with.
Yeah. So I'll let you introduce yourself a bit more, Sheafy. I tried to look you up on Google, to be fair. Didn't find too much.
Low profile, mate.
I managed to find a Grinder account and an OnlyFans, but I think you have to. Well, I don't have a Grinder account, so I can't see yours. And OnlyFans, you've got a monthly subscription for. So,
mate, you got to diversify in these COVID times, mate. Got to diversify. Got multiple sources of income.
I did find your LinkedIn, and there's not too much dirt on it, mate. To be honest, I mean, I've got a deputy head boy down here at school. So
yeah, the deputy bit still that's a massive chip, and that's not so much a chip, like a dent in that shoulder, mate.
Oh, were you going for the top job?
Mate, if you got to be in it to win it, haven't you? You got to go for the top job, mate. Yeah.
I like that.
It was a 2-horse race, mate, and I came second.
Good stuff. And I think probably obviously the level that you're working at now shows, because I've got two A stars down here and an A and a B for A levels. That beats me, mate. That beats me. I'm guessing that beats you as well, Marcus.
Absolutely.
Can you remember what A levels you did, Marcus, or not?
No. Psychology, PE, design.
Oh, Sheafy's a psychology.
I did, yeah.
You're not
good psychology. I enjoyed psychology.
History. I did history.
What did you?
No, I didn't do history. That's a lie. I did geography and politics. Didn't do history. Close. So obviously, I mean, you're obviously a clever break, mate. But where did it go? Where did the interest start? Obviously, it's got. I guess started in sport, but then sort of branched into the strength and fitness side of things. You take us through it, mate.
Yeah, I think it'll probably come as a massive shock to a lot of people, but I wasn't the most fun person at school. I mean, I know that's a revelation, but it's what the podcast is all about. No, I think I was pretty focused early on, rightly or wrongly, that I wanted to pursue a career in sport in some capacity. I was probably a little bit more scientifically minded, so the sports science route was the obvious one. Rugby was my sport growing up, so I played rugby, like all through minis, juniors, and up to Colts, and then I used to play back row. They moved me to 9 for, it's only discrimination on my height, but they did move me to 9. But it was probably at that point I realised I wasn't actually very good at rugby. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was going to say Neil Back made it, mate, and he wasn't very tall.
That was my continual argument, but apparently he was better than I was. Who knew? Shame. So like rugby was always going to be where I wanted to sort of pitch in. Yeah. That was my sport growing up. Wasn't good enough to play it by any stretch, so definitely want to be invested in it somehow.
What was your club, Sheafy?
Basingstoke. So I'm
okay.
Yeah, some decent step from Stortford, to be fair. But you would have played him on the way up, wouldn't you? 3 years.
We played, Basingstoke. Yeah, we had a couple of years where we used to play against Basingstoke away. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the club. So went to uni, went to Bath, studied sport and exercise science as part of the degree there.
Is Bath a pretty easy? Bath's pretty obviously sporty uni, isn't it? So was that a pretty easy choice? Not a Loughborough. You didn't want to. I'm just trying to think university wise for sport.
Yeah. So when I was applying, I actually haven't looked what it's like now, but when I was applying, sort of Exeter, Birmingham, Bath, Loughborough, like Leeds, they were probably top unis from if you were to look at league tables, as much as that tells you not a lot, but like they were probably your top unis. I did go to Loughborough. Loughborough, I'm going to apologise for our sort of Loughborough alumni that play at the blue and white, but I didn't really like it, to be honest. It was just wasn't for me. Like I think you get a feel for a place, and I wasn't that athletic, and I think if you're a good athlete there, I think you really fit in and love it. And that may have changed. Like this was a while ago. So, but yeah, when I was looking around, didn't have that immediate affinity, and I kind of did at Bath, so ended up there. I had a placement year in my third year, and what was that vibration?
What was that? He farted.
My phone.
Oh,
my phone.
The phone.
Can you put it on? Can you put it on silent, please? Double silent, no vibrating.
That's why.
I was going to try and just talk through it, but scans of broken cover. I couldn't allow.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. Yeah, so I went to had a placement year at uni. Like I say, very much in keeping with my personality. I was pretty adamant that like a rugby club is where I wanted to end up. So very early on in my second year, I started emailing around. Just got really lucky, to be honest. Like found the right email for the right person, and not someone in HR or reception, and got in at Sarries. So I went up there for like a couple of interview opportunities, and was fortunate enough to get the internship for my third year. Worked there for a year, which was the 2014-15 season.
Who's the person? Is there something like who's the person that gave you that job, or who was head of S&C there, or how did that sort of?
So the person who gave me the job was the performance director, so Phil Morrow. Okay. So Phil's been there since 2011. Previously head of performance at the Irish Rugby Football Union into the 2011 World Cup. So he's performance director, and at the time the head of strength and conditioning was Andy Edwards, who's just gone on to be the head of S&C for Springboks. So you're walking in as a second year uni student, very much wet behind the ears, like with some real pedigree of practitioner and coach. So like really, really lucky that was where my sort of first opportunity at in S&C was.
Did you feel like you'd hit the jackpot with that?
Oh mate, massively. You're surrounded by unbelievable athletes that are in an environment which is the epitome of high performance. Like everything was ticking. It was the year they won the Prem for the first time in that block of like success over the last sort of 5 years, and you've got practitioners both in the medical room and in the S&C office that are like world class. You've got coaches, technical coaches, rugby coaches that are like brilliant. They've gone on to coach England, head coach DOR jobs in the Prem. Like, yeah, mate, at 20 years old, you're pretty damn lucky walking into that environment. I try to just make the most of it, really. Like it was just a year's internship, so.
Yeah. So what was your sort of role? What was your day to day? I mean, what did you go in to help us? Was it the under 18s guys, or were you anywhere and everywhere? Or
so it was with the senior squad. Was the role. I think it's recently been coined the bin juice, but 100% was filling water bottles and shaking people shakers. Like that was the role. But just being in and around and learning off the athletes, off the coaches, off the players was massive. It's pretty. You get out of those sort of things what you put in, I think, and like I try to dive in head first and be around as much as I could. Like your role is helping the system run really smooth, I guess, is probably the nice way of putting that in.
Just being a good cog that sort of turns when it should and it's getting stuck in, I guess.
Yeah, turn up, do what needs to get done. Like, it's on you to develop a little bit. Like, you reach out the development opportunities, you have the conversations with the coaches that you want to have the conversations with, the players, and they're more than forthcoming if you want to have them. But you're there to make sure that the S&C coaches just have to worry about what's going on in the gym. The rugby coaches just don't have to worry about where the water racks are, or players don't have to worry about where their protein shaker is. You're there to help support, really. And mate, I loved it. You're in a professional full-time environment with like great people, and ultimately you stand on Twickenham's pitch at the end of the year and hold a trophy up. I was like, bloody hell, it's not bad, this S&C life. It's pretty tasty. So I was really lucky that at the end of that season, a guy in the junior academy left, so under 18s down left. And I got offered the role. I still had a year left to complete at uni. Got offered the role, accepted it. I don't think you really turned that opportunity down. A little bit of a stressful summer, sort of moving uni courses. I moved from Bath to Middlesex, finished up at Middlesex because they're based at Allianz Park at the stadium. And yeah, did my first paid gig as an S&C coach at the same time as finishing my undergrad degree, and it was an experience. Yeah,
nice.
That was me. That was my start, really.
Were you a bit gutted to leave Bath behind, like not get a third year at that, or was like, I mean, you talked about being focused. Were you happy that your focus was, obviously it was a hard opportunity to pass up on, but do you think back, and you never think back, you know?
So I actually moved house. So I moved back to Bath and started renting in Bath. I think I'd been there like 10 days or something when I got the phone call. It was like, do you want to come like for an interview, like to get the job type thing? And at no point I don't think I was ever like, no, despite everything that was logistically around it that was challenging. Like you say, it's you want to finish where you started. You've got friends there, you've got sort of memories and stuff that you want to achieve in your third year. But ultimately I went to uni to put me in a good position to get my foot in the door at an organisation to be an S&C coach, and like to have the opportunity to do that first off at a place like Saracens. Like you don't say no, and B, you just have to keep remembering you're really, really lucky that you've got that opportunity.
Yeah, I just think, you know, it obviously shows you're pretty driven, and you've obviously had a goal set and you want to achieve it. I think it's pretty easy coming out, you know, second year, looking at your third year at uni. You know, obviously we all know what uni's about. It's, you know, piss, mates, whatever. It's quite easy to be maybe quite naive, and
you sum me up there, mate.
Even past an opportunity like, you know, Saracens up and go, oh, you know, it might be there next year. You know, if they're asking me now, they might ask me again in a year or something, you know. But you obviously grabbed that chance with both hands, and it's ended up somewhere good for you. So where does it go? So we obviously spent a period of time working at Sarries. Have we got some good memories, some good stories? Where were your best memories from Saracens, and the things you enjoyed, or maybe the things you didn't enjoy quite so much?
Oh mate, it was an incredible experience. So I was there for 5 full seasons. So my intern year was the 2014-2015 season, and I left in September 2019. So mate, it was an incredible sort of 5 and a bit years. In that time, I was lucky enough to watch the team win 4 premierships, 3 Europeans, an LV Cup, and 2 A leagues. Like, it's a coach. Someone left actually while I was there, and I'll always remember their like goodbye speech. And they just said, "Enjoy this, because this isn't real life." And it's 100% true. Like, it wasn't real life. It was a hell of a ride, a hell of a journey, and like, so privileged to be able to watch the boys succeed that. So yeah, loads of good like memories on that sense. I think the sort of memories I stick at me. So my role there was working with the under 18s and the pathway down. So sort of from 13 to 18-year-olds, and it's things that probably you could easily let go past you, but like sessions where the atmosphere just amongst the lads is really good. Like, there's 16, 17-year-old boys that are in European champions gym training and like having the time of their life. And I think if you don't appreciate like just the vibe and the good buzz that's going on there, you miss out. It's been pretty special watching lads you've known since they were 14 make Premiership and senior debuts for the club. They'll live long in the mind. Like, I
was going to say, like, the people, you know, that maybe we've seen as well, like Andy Christie, Manu, Don Morris, are those people that you worked with fairly early on and have seen come through, or there's some other names in there?
So Don would have been in his last year in the junior academy when I was first in my intern year, so my first year at the club. So we didn't cross that much. I would have been around him a little bit when he started out in the senior academy, but I was then with the junior lads by that point. Andy and Manu and Sam, Crean, obviously Ruben, I'd have known coming through the junior academy. They were looked after by a different coach in terms of who their S&C coach was, but I would have worked with those guys since they were sort of 15, 16. Andy a bit later. He joined us a bit later. But it's good to see those boys come through. Like Nick Ezekwe, Ben Earl would have been the first junior academy cohort to come through. Max was the year before. Max Malins was the year before. Like, it's some pretty special young players sort of that are now establishing themselves in Premiership international scene that you've been lucky enough to watch develop. And that they're nice memories. They're nice memories to look back on when they were 15, 16, just starting out, and seeing them achieve their dream really of getting the whole way through, and sort of just knowing that hopefully you've helped a little bit maybe, or you've at least been there along the ride, even if you're not given them massive input.
Yeah, awesome. Screwing up a few water bowls at the minimum.
I've given a water bowl.
I was lucky enough when Sheethy was obviously at Stortford and still at Sarries. Me and Tom went over a few times, and Sheethy helped sort of get us in there to watch training for the day. And like Sheethy was saying about like the culture and just the atmosphere there, it was so positive the whole time. Like you'd walk upstairs a little bit kind of like rabbit in the headlights because there's all the first team boys, and even for me, like, you know, we're quite rugby, you know, fans, and you walk into the OA's clubhouse and there's all the first team boys, and every single one of them would come up and say hello, and even to the top, like Mark McCall would come over and say, "Oh, hi Marcus, how are you?" Like that positive atmosphere was just, and that's probably why they've been so successful. Sheethy, do you think when do you think Sarries will be back sort of challenging for Prems and Heineken Cups as soon as next year, or do you think it's a bit of transitional time now?
I don't know, mate. Like, you look at the squad, and you consider the boys that are out on loan that are coming back. Like Nick Tompkins came back today. It's a hell of a squad, isn't it? Like, you put the full first team out, and the depth even behind that, and the boys that have played the first couple of games in the Champions, mate. It's a good squad. There's some good lads there. I'd love to see them back competing straight away. I think the Prem seems pretty open this year, in like probably you've got Bristol, Exeter, and then you've got sort of 5 teams below that could all make the top 4. Like, no reason why Sarries can't bounce up and bounce straight into that mixer. Like you say,
you would know the stats, but in terms of salary, everyone talks about salary cap and bringing all these sort of Will Skeltons and not Liam Williams, but aren't Sarries the team who have produced the most players through their academy over the last 5-10 years? Like, the numbers are huge. Like the ones you just mentioned there, Earl, Malins, Ezekwe, you know, the list goes on and on. It goes all the way like to Jamie George and Farrell and others.
OJ.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are now. I know when I was in the academy like a couple of years ago, wasn't it, 2 or so years ago, we were definitely right up there in terms of homegrown players in our first 15 squad, and then also number of players that like actually play in the big games. Like, it's an impressive number, and I think, like you said, that you've mentioned the class of 08, and then you've also got boys like Andy, Manu that have sort of graduated more recently. It's I want to say a conveyor belt, but without being disrespectful, but it is like it's a continual development stream, and I think that's a massive sign to the work that goes in like behind the scenes from a county level to supporting the schools, but also the developing that the coaches can do when they hit that sort of senior setup. Like, they trust them, they put them in when they're ready, and boys might come through a little bit later than, like, you don't see like Orlando Bailey's playing tennis at Bath at the moment at 19. You don't see many 19-year-olds playing 10 at Sarries. Manny might be the exception, but when they do come through, they're internationals the next week. Like, look at Nick Tompkins, establishes himself as a first team player and is in the Welsh squad. Ben Earl's the same. Like, you've got an unbelievable development opportunity if you're a 18 to 20-year-old coming into Sarries full time for the first time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how this. I mean, I listened to a few podcasts and it's funny how this sort of, you know, your experience, Marcus, of walking and seeing the players, and what Sheethy, you know, how it marries up. Because I think I was probably listening to like Haskell talk about, his experience at teams and, you know, what he gets told about Saracens and it was just all about how nice the environment is, how friendly the environment is, how easy they make it for you. You know, and he's talking about that from a professional side of things as a player, and we're talking about that from, you know, from your side of things, from you working there or you going to. So there's definitely something in the Saracens model, isn't it? And it's clear that, I know perhaps Exeter have their own kind of model, but probably, you know, similar with their kind of values and things. And I think we'll probably see the more successful teams over the next maybe 3-4 seasons are going to perhaps try and have a similar model as well of developing homegrown and certainly young players. I know Bristol have given a few more opportunities to younger guys as well as some mega stars, but
Sheath, is there like one player you sort of you look back at and think, I really enjoyed working with that player? Any names to drop in there? Even if they haven't made it, maybe.
Well, yeah, anyone you saw potential in someone and they've had to drop out through injury or anything like that. I don't know if
genuine isn't like this isn't a cop-out answer, although it is like I genuinely enjoyed working with all of the lads that I was lucky enough to work with for the 4 years I was in the academy and the year like interning. It's I think the easier question to like there's no memory or stands out as like, God, that kid was hard, or like that environment was difficult. Like it genuinely was great. Like I count myself unbelievably lucky that I'm still in contact with most of the boys that have been like at that end of like just about getting a contract or not quite getting a contract. Like I'm lucky enough to still be in contact with all of them. So like whether they're boys that are now playing at different clubs in like Ollie Morris at Worcester, Dom's brother, or like the younger boys that are coming up that have just signed last year. Sam Bryans, Tristan Smith, Toby Knights, or the year before Ollie Stonham, Josh Hallett, and then like your Jake Morrises at Stortford. Like I still feel really fortunate that I can stay in contact with them because you spend so long together. Like if you know, like I've known Jake since he was 14, I think, and you spend hours a week every week for 4 years together. Like you're massively invested in that individual's future, and you want to see them do well, and you want to see them happy and develop and grow as a person, not just a rugby player. And like the weirdest moment for me around Jake is, so he made his first 15 debut. Marcus, jump in if I get this wrong, but I think pretty sure he made his first 15 debut Darlington away in 2019, and had just missed out on a contract, and obviously was gutted. But it was great to see him make his debut and for me to be there for his first senior men's game. And then we obviously go out for a night out afterwards because it's the end of season finale. And I've gone from going into Bishop Stortford College to look after like his weights as a student, as a kid, to then like on a night out seeing him like down beers with the boys. I'm like, God, this is like the last 3 months have changed. But like those experiences with the lads, like it's not a cop-out answer. There's no one that stands out, but all of them. I've loved working with all of them, and I'm pleased that I'm still able to chat to them.
It's funny, I think Jake had to get permission to miss school as well on that Saturday.
yeah, I think he did. Yeah. But like that's nice. It's good. Yeah, it's good to touch base with him and just check how he's getting on, like on every Tuesday, Thursday.
So Jake's your favourite. Okay, cool. That one's good.
Yeah, well, I still see him every week, so he can take that. Yeah, he can take that one if he wants it.
I mean, how did Stortford come around? Obviously, rugby club, but I don't know who got in contact with you. Was Stortford something you went looking for?
So I think the way that came about. So Mike Heinard, who's academy manager at Sarries, obviously has had relatively close contact with Longy at the time. I think Longy had said that Gilly must have been stepping away or not doing it going forward, and did he know anyone? And I sort of put my name in the ring, came up, met Longy, and was lucky enough to get sort of the green light to go for it. I think the honest answer is, was Stortford the club I was looking for? No. Was I necessarily looking for a club? Probably not, but I really wanted to test myself at senior rugby. I think I'm unbelievably lucky that Longy gave me a shot, because looking back, I was terrible the first season. I don't think I really did a lot, but it's been a great learning opportunity. Like, I obviously knew about the club, like players you've mentioned, like Tom Whiteley, Billy Walker. They'd all come and played at the club and had always spoken really highly of it and the type of environment. So I knew coming to meet Longyear for that first time that it was going to be a place that I'd like to be, and sort of had similar values and interests. And like, it seemed always came across like a really nice, like, club, just a genuine community, like friendly place to be. And yeah, met Longyear for the first time. He said very similar. And like I say, yeah, just got given the opportunity, and have learnt loads in the last sort of 3 seasons. And yeah, grateful that Stortford allowed me to develop as a coach, but it's been good.
I guess you've enjoyed sort of having your own ship to steer, I guess, and almost not experiment on the lads, but obviously you're obviously someone that's very interested in what you do and take it very seriously. So almost use, guinea pigs for ideas, like, does this work? Does that not work? Does this work with that player? How do I approach this situation? I mean, has that been something that you found very valuable?
Yeah, massively. And I think it's actually the non-technical stuff as well. It's not the sets and reps or the speeds necessarily. It's the having an appreciation for you boys have got jobs and families and life, and you're playing for the love of the game. And you're turning up on a Tuesday, Thursday, or going to Koru on a Monday night or what have you, because you want to represent the badge well on a Saturday, and you're doing it because you love rugby. You're not doing it to get paid or to progress through the ranks or for prestige. And it's almost easy to sell it. Well, it is easy to sell a professional athlete an S&C plan or a fitness session because it's their job. It's what they do all the time. It's you boys are doing it for the love. So you've got to have a different approach. You've got to sell them on how it's going to help them. You've got to understand that perfect isn't going to be possible all the time, and actually it's what's good enough, what's vital, what do we really need to get after, what's a nice to have, and when can we start getting after those nice to haves. And I think it's the non-technical, it's the, like you said, steering the ship and being responsible for decisions. Like, they're all lessons that I've hopefully definitely learned at Stortford.
Yeah, persistence as well, probably. I mean, I've never thought. I just thinking about them while you're talking, but I mean, see, from a personal point of view, I'm into my fitness a lot more now, and I don't know if that's necessarily been down to me individually, or it's actually being in an environment with you around and how strength and fitness has developed at the club. Obviously pushing that boat. I think we're probably starting to reap the benefits now, a lot more maybe than before. I know. What do you think, Marcus? I think, strength and fitness wise, do you think you're seeing players taking it a lot more seriously than you have before? Do you think it's a slow journey? Do you think it's been quite a lot of change in the last 2-3 years?
I think there was definitely a culture shift, probably, which started with Gilly and Sheethy's. We're pushing it on, and new lads coming into the squad. When we're trying to attract players to Stortford, because we all know we like to produce our own, but we have to try and attract other players as well. Having the likes of Sheethy who's there because there are lads who want to try and push on to play high level, and that's what, as a club, we do want to try and push lads into the champ and into the Premiership if there's an opportunity there. So I think, for us as coaches, the benefits are, like you say, the players are going to get better performance on Saturday. They're going to get more out of their bodies, and on top of that is lads looking after their bodies as well and being more able to, 30 games of national one rugby is extremely.
Injuries let's be honest, like, injuries have hurt us, for a couple of seasons. Like, I can't remember, it was maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago we had one horrendous.
That's down to the amount of games. It's just thick and fast. Like the September to December, it's 16 games straight. Now, if you haven't got a particularly huge squad, then players are going to be playing a lot of minutes, and that's where you get injuries. But I think again, you'll see even in the next 2 or 3 years that culture of going to the gym and conditioning our bodies to be better rugby players will get even better and better. And in years to come, Sheety's work, Gilly's work you'll see it filter through, and it will just become part and parcel of the senior squad at the club. And I think you look at some of the players, and Matt Tomlinson, for example, he's probably going back before he was a big, probably the most successful one what Gilly had, because he just put that extra size, power, and speed on. You look in the first team now, and like you say, the likes of Jake Morris coming in, and physically he's ready for senior rugby, even at a very young age. He might have been small, but physically he was ready for the biggers of National One. Otherwise, we wouldn't have put him in there. So yeah, that's why we want to keep Sheethy on. That's why we see this as an important part of the machine, as it were, because especially with the 17 pre-seasons we had this year, that's where Sheethy's knowledge about how to look after players and how to get them ready for rugby that's Sheethy's expertise.
And go on, mate.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I think you're right. Like National One, like the lesson I've had in the last couple of years is National One is brutal. Like you can't. It's almost semi-pro without quite being semi-pro in the physicality. You've got boys dropping out of the champ, or you've got academy lads that are in full-time environments. Like you've got physical people in there now, and Scancher, we had 25 injuries at one point. Not this season, obviously we haven't played any rugby, but last season we had 25 injuries at one point, and that's challenging. And I think we've got to be the best attribute any player can have is availability, and that's what myself and the physios are trying to achieve, is just give Marcus and Tom as many headaches as possible selection wise, because they've got a full squad to choose from. And Marcus is right, like there's so many games in that first part of the year. You boys have got to be able to tolerate that physically, and I hope there's a bit of a continued sort of growth in that buy-in and application around the bits on the edge. And mate, if you're throwing the compliment out there that you feel like you've done it because of the culture, then I'll take it with both hands.
I don't know if I have. It just might have been subconscious.
No, I'll take it. Yeah, no, all right, I'll take it. Don't worry. Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't tag him in those cleans, mate. He's not happy with your techers on that.
Yes, he still hasn't taught me. He said he was going to, but he still hasn't taught me.
I private messaged him asking him to remove those. No, when gym's back open, mate, on Monday, gyms are open on Monday. We'll get in the gym and I'll teach you.
Yeah, awesome. So I would just, last thing we're following into is, I don't know if anyone knows, but you're not working with Saracens anymore. You're working with British Rowing.
I am, yeah. So I left Saracens in September 2019 and joined British Rowing. So I'm the lead under 23s and development. Oh. Yeah, I'm a bit heavy for a Cox. I might not look at it, but I'm a bit heavy for a Cox.
Bang the drum and shout, right?
Yeah, just on the megaphone. That's all I do. Yeah, just cycle up and down on the megaphone. So I'm the lead S&T for the under 23s in development athletes at GB Rowing. So the role is quite a bit different to Sarries. It's a bit more coach education and remote support of those athletes. They're in their clubs and high performance clubs and university settings. We probably get them for camps as opposed to year round. And then I work with the senior men and senior women to support their S&T delivery on a daily and weekly basis. So yeah, roles are a little bit different. Sports are very different. People are very different. But it's a great challenge. I think, like I said at the beginning, rugby was where I wanted to get into. Fortunate enough to land at the top, sort of try number one with that. And I think if I was honest with myself, I wanted to be the best practitioner, best coach I could possibly be. And to do that, I needed to test myself in different environments. And that's the honest truth. I think I wanted to be somewhere where I was uncomfortable. I don't know the sport. I don't know the culture. I don't know people in it. But you're surrounded by unbelievably clever minds. The technical coaches are physiologists and biomechanists, and physios have worked in a really technical sport for decades. It's a place if you're willing to dive in and be uncomfortable, it's a place you're going to learn a lot. And yeah, it was a good opportunity. So bounced across to a sat down sport rather than a run around sport. Yeah,
I mean, obviously lots of jobs sound pretty 9 to 5, but are you are you, obviously, I feel like you're trying to educate yourself a lot. Are you trying to soak up information 24/7? Are you doing a lot outside of, it's not very 9 to 5? Are you still educating yourself a lot rather than just working, as it were, or does it just come hand in hand with sort of your job?
Bit of both, to be honest, mate. I think it's definitely not a 9 to 5. As with any job in sport, I think for it to go well, it has to be an athlete-centered job. So that means, not to the extent of absolutely anything, but you pretty much would do pretty much anything if it helps the athlete get better at the weekend or for their event in 4 years' time for the Olympics. And yeah, there's no clock on that. So you need to be kind of available. As for the continually learning, I think you're learning on the job all the time. I think you need to continually be in an environment that stretches you around people that are smarter than you. I think is, and that's where you'll continue to get stretched. And that was the case at Sarries, the pedigree of coaches I spoke about there. And it's the same at rowing. I'm around my boss at rowing. She's been in, this is her second Olympiad. Obviously the success of the women at Rio 2016 speaks for itself. Been there, done it, got multiple t-shirts, and knows a thing or two. So you're around people that you're learning from all the time. You do have to do your own learning around the edge. So we sort of termed it in the current role of you work on your job and you work in your job. And I think you work in your job, and that's your day-to-day, get stuff done and deliver, provide what the athlete needs, and then you work on your job to leave it in a better place than you found it. And whether that is in terms of admin and logistics, or it's in terms of relationships with stakeholders, or it's in terms of just operating level, you want to leave the job having left something and moved it on a little bit. So yeah, you're definitely always working in the background. Is it always formal and structured? No, I think you learn from doing, but you do have to make sure you're doing that formal stuff around the edge.
Yeah, nice one. Well, we're glad you've got time for us, mate.
I hope everyone's made it to the end and they haven't turned off, because I don't have the most enthusiastic voice at the best of times, and with this lid, I would turn straight off, I think, straight away. So
well,
lid.
Yeah.
Mate,
well, we're trying to keep
next Wednesday. I thought we could have filmed it next Wednesday. It gets cut off next Wednesday.
You're trying to keep up with me and Marcus, and obviously the beard game is less than adequate.
What are you talking about? This is a couple of weeks growth, mate.
That's been growing as long as the hair, isn't it?
Yeah, this has, mate. Yeah, this one day this will break through, mate. I'll leave the top knots to you two. It takes a certain person to put a top knot off, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I've got that sort of characteristic in me. That doesn't say deputy head boy to me, but you never know. Maybe that's where I went wrong.
They're not top knots, mate. They're ponytails.
Oh, sorry. Real men have ponytails. Sorry, mate.
And I've saved a lot of money over the last 3.5 years on haircuts, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. To be fair, yours goes with your travelling stories, Marcus. So it's a nice proceed into you spent some time in Fiji, didn't you? Or
have I bored you that much? Have I bored you that much on the way to away games?
Well, I've heard it a couple of times.
Does he tell you about his gap year?
Oh, I've heard it. Yeah. That's found himself, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. It was just a good opportunity to get away, and I was going to try and set up a link with some Fiji islands and bring them back to the club, but didn't quite get through quarantine.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, they're still on Fiji time. Ron Nagara refers to Fiji time, so I think we can all refer to Fiji time now. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, lads. It's been good to chat, and this has been a good project you guys have started. So thank you. Yeah,
glad to get you on. I'll say you're in my head as the first guest, but you've been the last, so it's good. But one more thing, I hope we actually haven't prepped him for this, Marcus, have we? His last question. I think we have, yeah. We kind of got about this. I mean, Marcus has been asked. You obviously watched the podcast. Have you been watching them to the end or not?
I've watched most, yeah.
So our last question, which Marcus has asked, I don't know if you've got an answer for it, because we normally we're nice and we prep our guests on it. But
stitch up.
Do you want to ask away, Marcus?
Yeah, so we've asked all of our previous 5-6 guests, because we had obviously 2 on at once. What was your go-to kind of excuse to allow you to stay out for an extra beer,
or stay at the rugby club, or I don't
stay at the club, or what was your little white lie?
I mean, you are now Elsom's gone back to Australia, you're asking the chief of beer fear over here.
How did you get Darlington away the second night? How did you sell it? I've got to look after.
You've got to do it for the boys, haven't you? Yeah, you've got to do it for the boys. You've got to. We're one team. We've been in it. It's been a long season.
Did you ever get to go on a famous Sarries like dress up end of season job? Because you see some pictures floating around
the memorable one, or the probably the good story is so it's 2016, and I only know that because of photos. It was a really hot final, and someone has been feeding me beers all game, and I'm steaming. We're in the change room after the game. I'm consciously trying to stay away from anyone important because I'm not in a good place. And it's the year that Brad decides to throw the coaches in the middle for Tiki Tonga. So I'm steaming, shirts off, Tiki Tonga in the middle of the change room, having just won the Prem. And the boys won the Prem. I did absolutely F all. And gone back to St Albans. Good night. I've then got put in a taxi by 2 academy players back to the academy house. I've woken up on the academy sofa in the morning to a call from another S&C coach saying that we're on again for an all-dayer in London. One of the academy boys has had a pretty successful sort of night the night before. He's had a good party. He gets a standing ovation down the street as he comes in. It's mate, the entrance fee to get into the second all day was you had to go to the charity shop across the road. I think it was like a £10 limit or something, and you had to buy an outfit, and that was your outfit for the day. But yeah, as an academy S&C being put into a taxi by academy players to stay at the academy house. It's not the best example I've set, but it was a bloody good night. So
good stuff. That's a nice story. We like that. Good finish. Nice, man. So awesome. Thanks for coming on, Sheepy. And I guess I thank you to our listeners. I think this is actually going to be our last one in this little series of podcasts that myself and Marcus have done. So thank you for everyone who has listened, our devoted fans. I think we seem to have about 300 listeners or so on most of the podcasts. So there's definitely some of you out there. So thanks for sticking with us. I hope you've enjoyed this one. It's certainly been a good, interesting insight into what Sheepy's done, because you've obviously achieved a lot in your what was, I guess, a relatively early sort of young career so far. Thank you. I think we will be back. We've got some ideas. I know Sheepy's got some ideas. Marcus has got some ideas to hopefully maybe do some shorter podcasts or sort of coaches corner sort of stuff around hopefully some of the games being up. So our faces will be back on your screens very soon. Hopefully.
I'll have a beard by then.
So watch this show. Sheepy's gonna cut his hair, got a beard. I probably won't look any different. Are you gonna look any different, Marcus? Or
no changes planned, mate.
You'll still be wearing Stortford kit, won't you?
Always, mate. Always. New stash.
Yeah, centenary badge, mate. You've got to get all the sponsors in.
Yeah, can I make? When are the players getting the centenary stash? Because obviously,
in the centenary year.
So we've got to wait till September, have we?
Potentially.
Maybe an early T-shirt coming my way. Maybe.
There's stuff in the pipeline. Don't you worry, Scans. You just get back playing, mate.
Can I not have one with podcast host on the back or something? That's got to be in there. Anyway, awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.